Hey Virgo, and welcome to your first half of December 2020 general reading. This could apply to your Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. I have started a Patreon page, so if you'd like to see the extended version of this reading, just follow the link below. There will be a love reading included in that extended version. If you'd like to have a personal reading with me, please check the description box below for information of how to contact me. All right, Virgo, so the first thing I'm noticing here is you have a lot of 8s. Which 8 would signify the 8th house, which would be Scorpio. So you could be dealing with the Scorpio, or you're dealing with 8th house matters, which would be taboo subjects such as death and sex, the idle place, underworld, estate of deceased, wills, legacy, dowry of the wife, the adversary's second, the defendant's friends, fear and anguish of the mind. You could experience some kind of issues with hemorrhoids or like bladder stones, kidney stones, or bladder kidney infections. It does seem like you would be needing a relaxed environment to heal. I feel like you've been undergoing some kind of panic attacks, anger, or fear to do with disassociation or trying to disconnect. You can't avoid these feelings, you do have to deal with them. There is a need to communicate boundaries, emotions, and to speak from the heart to heal these emotions. The blind spot card you got, which I don't think you can see, is number 67, which is disconnection. Your disconnection is what you are not seeing. The hardest part about disconnection is that when you are using disconnection as a coping mechanism, you feel relief. You no longer feel the tension of the conflict and feeling of separation that was occurring before you disconnected. As a result, you may feel like you are more in harmony and more connected, even though the truth is the opposite. Even if other people are screaming at you, that you are disconnected. You feel this way because you are disconnected, that you may not even feel pain of disconnection itself and thus do not even recognize you are disconnected. Disconnection is a state of being detached from something. Disconnection plays out in all kinds of different ways with people. People can be detached from their emotions, from friends, from their parents, from their own essence, from their children, from their hearts, from their true desires, from the impact they have on others, from reality, and the list goes on and on. Some ways that this disconnection shows up in day-to-day life is that a person can be in a job for years that they hate because they are disconnected from their heart. A person can cause immense cruelty on another person and never even realize they are doing it because they are disconnected from the experience of others. Someone can be feeling sadness and tell you he or she is fine because he or she is disconnected from their own emotions. A person can say things that hurt someone else because they are disconnected from the person's inner world, and therefore don't know them enough to know that what would hurt them or not hurt them to hear. Anyone can have a one-night stand and not think of the person they slept with the next day because he or she is disconnected to the degree that he or she can mutually masturbate with no emotional connection. A person can encounter synchronicities and magic and realize every one of them because and rationalize every one of them because he or she is disconnected from the spirit underlying the matter of this world. Someone can be so focused on projects they are doing with the kids that they fail to connect with the kids while they're doing it, and the kids feel neglected and the projects are more important because they are disconnected from their children's worlds and feelings and thoughts and desires and needs. A person can do things in a certain way and have no awareness about why they are doing it because they are disconnected from their own childhood. A man can believe in a truth and do things without questioning it at all because he is disconnected from his own inner voice and conscience. A person can look at the world and not recognize themselves and other things in the world or their connection to them to the degree that they can declare war that kills millions. And wait, before you convince yourself that spiritual people are the exception to this rule, think again. Spirituality has become one more tool that people use to enhance their disconnection, but to justify it. For example, the spiritual teaching "pain is an illusion" is the way to disconnect from the reality of other people's pain. The belief that the higher self has no external needs and the identification with that self over all others is one way of disconnecting from the needs that aren't being met by others and the pain that causes. Positive focus can be a way to disconnect from half of the reality of life and all of one's negative emotions. One's relationships can be a way of disconnecting from one's own fear of abandonment and fear of attachment. Disidentification can be a way to disconnect with life. Spiritual medicines can be a way of disconnecting with reality and with one's physical embodiment. And this list can also go on and on. If you have drawn this, you are being asked to see your disconnection. You are being called to transition out of this state and into connection. Reestablish your connection with whatever you have disconnected from. All right, so for the cards here. Oh, and before I get too far into it, the song that was coming up as I was shuffling your cards and getting ready for your reading was the song by Nelly featuring Tim McGraw, Because It's All in My Head. All right, so, well, we have the star, which could be that you're dealing with an Aquarius, or it breaks down to the number 8. So you could be using a method of disconnection by connecting with friends or obsessing over an outside connection. Because underneath that, we have the devil. The devil is an obsession, being bound to something, possibly being obsessed with work, being obsessed with a connection that you think that is going to, take away all of the pain that you're currently feeling. It does seem like there is an individual here, and mind you, this message could go vice versa. This could be what you're currently dealing with or somebody that you're connected to. Somebody's controlling the how far they go inwards and reflect upon themselves. It could have to do with a Virgo or an Aries, and not allowing themselves to go inwards to heal. And because they're doing this, it's like as if they're avoiding having to go back to the thoughts that play over and over in their head that hurt them. And by doing so, they control this, and it makes it easier to walk away and disconnect. There may be a form of manipulation going on here. You may have somebody in your head that's implanting false ideas of what is good for you. You may be using sex or other things of addiction or altered states of reality in order to disconnect, which addictions can go in all sorts of ways. It could be an addiction to attention, addiction to drugs, alcohol, an addiction to sex, food, or getting the attention of others, making it easier to disconnect from the choices we're currently making, even though those choices in the future could be extremely devastating. Virgo, I'd be very careful, because I think you do need to go within in order to figure this out. You have the 8 of Swords here. You have the star. When I look at the star, I see like there's somebody who is pouring their emotions into more than one area here. You got this naked woman pouring emotions back into the water and onto the earth. So you may be spreading yourself thin, or somebody you're dealing with is sharing their emotion or even their sexual fluids amongst more than one person in order to control their emotional grievances. So there may be some kind of emotional disconnect that needs to be reconnected to and healed. You may need to be speaking up. The 8 of Swords could signify to me that you are, keeping this all in your head and thinking about it over and over again, but not actually speaking up. Therefore, not allowing yourself the opportunity to heal from it, or allowing somebody else the opportunity to heal this situation. You may have started something back up in the past. You may have reconnected with a person, a friend, a business, it doesn't matter. And because you hadn't actually talked about the things and fully expressed about the things that hurt you, you actually didn't give this new start a chance. Or there may have been friends involved that you were entertaining with, or other projects that you kept yourself distracted with, that you never actually gave your full attention back to this reconnection to allow it to flourish. Well, Virgo, I am going to now take this into the extended reading. So if you feel like this is resonating with you, the extended will be in Patreon. The link for that will be provided below. I hope to see you there if this is where we part ways. I wish you the best, and I'll see you soon.